In today's video, I want to break down a live trade that I took today on ENPH, making a little under $2,500 using the break and retest on the downside. We were looking at ENPH flushing under a key 270 level, which was yesterday, and coming into today, the plan was to see if ENPH could push back to the upside, retest that previous support, turn it into a rejection, and play it off that level. In this morning's live stream, we went through this entire game plan, so if you guys were there this morning in the pre-market live stream, congratulations if you caught this play. In today's video, I'm going to break down the trade, share with you the longer-term analysis, which helped me find this trade, and then also break down the short-term analysis, which helped me find my exact entry. After we go through the longer and shorter-term analysis on this trade setup, I'm going to go ahead and run the live recording of the trade today so I can share with you my executions and sort of how everything went down as I was entering and exiting this position. After watching today's video, if you enjoyed the analysis and the live trade, make sure to press the like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to come to the pre-market live streams where these setups, including ENPH, are talked about every single morning starting at 8 a.m. So guys, before we jump into the analysis after the fact, I want to share with you what we talked about in the pre-market live stream this morning from the pre-market live stream. So I'm going to run that clip, and after that clip, we will jump into the charts and jump into the analysis. ENPH, I think this is probably the beginning to more downside on ENPH, to be honest, guys. If you look at this chart and you look at what it did yesterday, this is a major breakdown on ENPH. This is a flush, right? I would not get too bullish on this pullback. This looks pretty aggressive. If ENPH cannot get back over 270, I think it's going to move lower. Here's some reasons why. You have previous support here. You have previous support here. You have previous support here. If ENPH crack that support, if it comes back into it, if it starts to reject here, then I think you continue lower. On top of that, you are sitting in no man's land. You are literally in no man's land on ENPH. You can see right here, guys, there is no volume here. If we go volume profile, you are going to see, I could almost guarantee it. If not, I'll be shocked. I could almost guarantee there's a void in price action. Look at that. So where does the volume pick up again? It's back down here around 220. Where is the void in price action? It's all in here around 220 to 270. I would not be bullish on ENPH here. I would look for downside. I would look for maybe a fake pop into 270 and then the big downside into 220. So on your screen, you are looking at the 4-hour chart on ENPH, and we can see that over the last just about 2 to 3 months, ENPH has been trading sideways. We've been trading in between a 270 and a 305 area up to around 320 at one point, but it's been a pretty defined channel here on ENPH. Now, yesterday, we had a pretty ugly day on ENPH. You can see yesterday, we had a pretty large 4-hour downside candle, just about a 12% move to the downside. Now, after we were watching this big flush under that 270 level, that is a major channel break. And when we get those channel breaks, we usually get some type of continuation or we find some weakness underneath that previous support. We can see the previous support was around $270 a share. We traded below it. So if we're trading below that previous support, what do we want to look for? We want to look for that retest. We want to look for the market to come back into that level. Does it prove to turn into a rejection point? And that is exactly the game plan that we had coming into today. Does 270 turn into a rejection? And if it does, can we look for some downside off that level? The volume profile here on the 4-hour chart, I'm going to go ahead and pull that up for you. I'm going to go to the 1 hour and I'm going to get 90 days of price action. So we're looking at the 1-hour chart and we're looking at the last 90 days of price action. If we go to the volume profile, what we will see here, which is something that I do use in my analysis quite often, what we will see here is that there is a very large valley of price action under that 270 level. After 270 breaks, you can see over here in this general area, there is very little volume to hold ENPH up. So your question may be, do I think there's more downside on ENPH here? Absolutely. I think ENPH can potentially move back down to this 220 area where we had a vertical move here back in July where we could see an equal reaction to the downside to come back down and test this support and come back down into this volume field down around 220. Now, in what fashion do we move down to that 220? That's a whole nother question. Do we just go straight there? Do we move, straight to the downside like we did here, straight to the upside? I'm not quite sure. I really wasn't willing to hold on to this position. I wanted to take my scalp today, take my profits. I will continue to watch this nonetheless, and I think you guys should continue to watch this as well. But this volume profile is definitely showing some weakness under 270 to around 220. So our longer term analysis said look for that rejection of 270, but that doesn't just mean you just jump into puts right at 270. Where is your entry? Where's the confirmation to get your entry? And now I want to go ahead and break this down to the 1 minute chart, and this is where I found my exact entry today. So guys, this is the 1 minute chart on ENPH. This is today's price action, and what we can see up here on the upside of this move, you can see we started to reject that 270 area. Right up here, right around 268, 270, we started to see ENPH lose some weakness. So up in here, we started to push into that 270 rejection level, and we started to see some weakness. Now, of course, it's not exactly 270. It's around 269.35 was the exact high, but I knew that that previous support was there. I knew it was a little bit of a range, and when I started to see a sell-off from that level, I started to get very interested. Now, where this confirmation started to come in for me, I first saw this double top right around this 267. You guys can see right here, we had this previous support around 267.30, and we had a little double top that formed right there. Now, I didn't enter on that candle yet because that wasn't quite the retest that I was waiting to see. I was waiting to see if we could retest the previous low of this candle move here. Now, it wasn't low of day, but it was a pivot low, right? So we pushed higher, we moved lower, and we pivoted off this level around 263, 264. So when we came back down and we broke that 264, I wanted to see, can ENPH come back into 264? Can we turn this previous little pivot level at 264 into a rejection? Can we make a lower low and a lower high on ENPH here? Can we do a break and retest of 264? If we can, I was going to go ahead and take my entry. What you can see right here is we moved to 264. We bounced. We double topped around that 267. When we broke this pivot low right around here at 264, you can see that we went ahead and we pushed back into it, showed a rejection, little bear flag set up right here, and this is where I went ahead and I took my entry. I got in here around this 264 retest, and I went ahead and rode this thing to the downside. I uploaded the trade to TradeZella so we can break down some of the statistics. You can see I made about $2,200 on this trade. I made a little bit more on another trade, so overall on ENPH today, about $2,400-$2,500. This was the main trade. You can see I had 20 contracts. Commissions were $27, about a 30% return on investment. My gross P&L was $2,240. Had the setups to break and retest. My mistake here was that I probably sold without reason. My second exit was around a 9 EMA exit, but this first exit and this first exit here, which was down around after we got that flush candle, I took some profits. I created some cash flow on the position, but you'll see in the live trade, I probably could have held a little bit longer, but I am happy with the trade overall. So sold without reason. I want to make sure I have that tag there because I do like to scale out of trades, but sometimes I scale out a little bit too heavy to where I probably could leave some runners a little bit larger of a runner. Sometimes I break it down to at least one contract left, and with one contract, it's really not that advantageous to hold on to. So let's try to leave 3-4 contracts if I'm in a good position. That's one of the mistakes maybe I could have improved on. If we scroll down, we can see that my entries were right around 10 o'clock. My average price was around $377 with 20 contracts. That was my total position. I got in on one failed swoop. I didn't go ahead and enter into this over time. I went ahead and I took my 20 contracts. Here were my scale outs out of 6, out of 4, out of 2. This was really a total sell of 10. So I got out of 10 here at the same time. I went ahead and scaled out of 2 more right here, and I was just sort of scaling out as we got the move in my favor. So break and retest on the larger term time frames and a break and retest on the shorter term time frames. Overall, break and retest on the entire trade is what I use to find both my longer term analysis as well as my short term entry point. With that said, here is my trade. Now I want to go ahead and jump over to the live trade. We'll go ahead and look at the live trade. I'm going to show you guys the raw recording of it. What you're going to hear in this live trade is exactly what we talk about in the voice chat within the Discord community. So congratulations to you guys that caught that with me. After we do that, we will wrap up this video. So enjoy that live trading. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments below after watching as well. I'm watching for a rejection of 264 on end phase. That's the previous low right here. Yeah, I'm taking end phase puts right there. Stop is right over 264. Break and retest at 264 right there on end phase. I'm in the 260 puts. All right, I gotta take some off on that. All right, I'm just gonna sit in 5 contracts. So after watching that live recording, you can see my entry was right around that bear flag, that break and retest of 234, and that 9 EMA rejection. All things lined up very nicely there. Got a quick move in my favor, scaled out of it, sort of rode this lower until we broke the 9 EMA, which was right here at 10.15. We broke above that 9, and I went ahead and I took my profits at that level. So I wanted to go ahead and recap a trade today. I hope you did enjoy it. I wanted to show you the live recording because I think some people like to see it live. Maybe it helps them learn and see exactly how I execute these trades. Let me know what you guys thought about the video down in the comments below. Press that like button, subscribe to the channel. Make sure to come hang out in the pre-market live streams every single morning starting at 8 a.m. And I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.